Welcome and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gamansing. A controversial case that arose over a year ago in 2012 again captures the attention of the territory. Former Senator Alvin Williams Jr., along with two of his legislative staffers, received their sentences in district court for crimes including racketeering and corruption. District Court Judge Curtis Gomez handed down the sentence. News 2's April Knight has that story.
4 years in prison and then some. After a high-profile series of raids, arrests, and plea deals, former Senator Alvin Williams finally received his sentence in a corruption and racketeering case that all began over a year ago. Williams was arrested in November 2012 and faced a 9-count indictment that included charges ranging from embezzlement to public corruption, soliciting, receiving, and offering bribes, as well as using public funds to purchase an online degree and involving his staffer, Kim Blackett, to complete the required coursework. Blackett and another Williams aide, Gary Sproul, were also arrested around the same time and faced racketeering and public corruption charges alongside Williams. Williams, along with Blackett and Sproul, all took plea deals months after their high-profile arrest. Williams pleaded guilty to 1 count.
When we're fashioning a plea deal, we try to capture the most egregious criminal conduct. And in this case, the racketeering charge included everything, every action that he committed.
Williams was sentenced to 52 months in federal prison, 3 years of supervised release, and restitution payments. Sproul was sentenced to 1 year in prison, 3 years of probation, and restitution, while Blackett was sentenced to probation. All restitution payments have yet to be determined. All three also received 300 hours of community service.
We make a recommendation to the court, but the sentence is within the exclusive province of the judge. We think it's a fair sentence. We think it's appropriate given the conduct.
According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, this case should serve as a warning to public officials that those who violate public trust cannot escape justice.
Whether it's a high-profile case or not, that's a very essential component of any sentence. We do hope that it does serve as a deterrent for, that'll put a chilling effect on future criminal actions, especially those by our public servants.
April Knight for News 2.
Former Senator Alvin Williams was turned over to federal marshals immediately after Wednesday's sentencing hearing in Virgin Islands District Court. Meanwhile, on Thursday, District Court Judge Gomez also sentenced Hansel Bailey, 36, of Orange County, California, to 5 years in prison for conspiracy to defraud the United States in the collection of taxes and conspiracy to evade and defeat tax due and owing the Virgin Islands. Bailey is also sentenced 3 years of supervised release, restitution to the VI Internal Revenue of over $821,000 and to the Internal Revenue Service for $1.1 million. Bailey's charges included a tax-saving scheme that would allow clients of Compass Diversified, a business Bailey incorporated and was later granted EDC benefits, to claim bogus business deductions on their income tax returns by making payments to Compass allegedly for management or consulting services, then recoup a portion of the payment in the form of a tax-free gift from a Virgin Islands-born resident. Bailey was remanded to the custody of the United States Marshal Service to begin serving his sentence at the conclusion of today's hearing. St. Croix Fire Chief Angel Torres may have resigned his post to run for a political office. According to a recent report, fire officials are not confirming Torres' departure. Deputy Fire Chief Corey Kent had no comment on the matter, but Kent did confirm that he's been the acting fire chief since the beginning of the week. News 2 also tried to contact the Fire Services Director, Steve Brow, but he was out of the office until Friday. News 2 will keep you updated. After learning that several officers were losing their lives as a result of blood lost rather than gunshot or stab wounds, former police chief Christopher Howell formed an initiative aimed towards equipping all VI peace officers with trauma management kits. Project Triage has successfully raised enough funds to equip all of St. Croix officers with trauma kits. News 2's Shanika Robinson has more.
An initiative aimed at equipping all VI peace officers with trauma management kits has finally met its goal. Enough kits have been donated through Project Triage to equip all officers in the St. Croix district.
Statistically, 2 out of 3 officers that are killed in the United States mainland and throughout the Caribbean, they don't die from a gunshot wound or a stab wound. They actually die from blood loss associated to that injury. Being that I myself am a product of a trauma management kit. When I was shot back in August, it was a trauma management kit that saved my life. I felt compelled to assist other police officers in getting these kits.
Former Police Chief Howell recently started Project Triage, a nonprofit organization aimed towards equipping all law enforcement and peace officers with up-to-date kits.
Each kit comes in a vacuum-sealed pouch, and it's made to fit in an officer's trauma plate pocket on his bulletproof vest. So it contains a pair of gloves, a hemostatic agent by the name of Axel. It also contains a tourniquet and an application card for the tourniquet, as well as a pressure bandage.
Project Triage has donated approximately 231 trauma kits to officers on St. Croix and is currently seeking donations to fully equip officers on St. Thomas as well.
Currently, we have enough kits to go to all Virgin Islands police officers in St. Croix. St. Thomas, we have one donation, but it's a small donation, relatively small, and it only will equip about 20 officers in St. Thomas.
To donate funds or find out more information about Project Triage, visit www.projecttriage.org for more information. Shaniqua Robinson, News 2.
Now, if you decide to donate, once you go on the website, you can designate where you want the kits to be assigned. Also, each kit carries the name of the donor, and you will be notified once the kit is used to save a life. Delegate to Congress Donna Christensen congratulates the St. Johns Marina Yacht Club at Summers End LLC on receiving $1,273,000 in a grant from the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. This grant was possible through both private and public collaboration between the Summers End Group and DP&R. Now, the funds will be used to continue the construction phase of supporting the transient boating markets to St. John. The grant was one of 7 grants awarded throughout the U.S. and the Virgin Islands. The Virgin Islands was the only territory to be among the recipients for projects to support recreational boating through the Boating Infrastructure Grant, and that's the Tier 2 program. The Waste Management Authority is getting rid of tires. They've awarded the first ever tire scrap contract, and it's their response to fulfilling a mandate required by the EPA. News 2's Erica Parsons has that story.
250,000 tires are leaving the territory.
I'm happy to announce that this is the first time in quite a while that any tires are leaving the territory from the Waste Management Authority.
It's the first scrap tire management contract awarded by the Waste Management Authority to deal with the problem of tire disposal.
The contract was awarded to Marco Trucking, where it's for approximately 250,000 tires, 5 million pounds of tires.
The tires will be washed and cleaned at the St. Croix transfer station, compressed into bales that hold between 90 and 100 tires, then shipped to Puerto Rico before being sent to Vietnam to be recycled for fuel. Marco was chosen from 6 companies who responded to the RFP for tire disposal, and it's a job that has to be done properly for the EPA.
If the tires comes up where we gotta bail it and it's not clean, we send it back, because if it reaches to the mainland, they will send back the whole shipment.
We're also under EPA consent decree for tire removal, and this is just the first phase of trying to respond to that consent order.
The 10-month contract was at a price tag of $1 million, and it covers 250,000 tires, but more than 500,000 tires still sit in the landfill.
There is an issue with used tires here on the island. We have issues with illegal dumping, so this is our means of handling the tires. Right now we have monies that was put aside for this project, and we will have to find other funding source in order to continue, because obviously this is just a drop in the bucket between St. Croix and St. Thomas.
That's why they're looking at other options for a more permanent plan.
We're also going to be moving towards a long-range tire management plan that we're going to be getting to roll out pretty soon.
At roughly 2,000 pounds a bale, for 5 million pounds, they'll need a few months for the rubber to hit the road. Erica Parsons, News 2.
100,000 pounds of tires have already been shipped out. The contract is only 4 tires on St. Croix. Officials are trying to find funding to address the St. Thomas-St. John district. And later on in the newscast, we'll have some details on a new EPA website. Highlighting the level of poverty in the U.S. Virgin Islands as well as other areas, on Wednesday, Congresswoman Donna Christensen joined Congresswoman Barbara Lee of Texas, Linda Johnson Robb, the eldest daughter of President Lyndon Johnson, and other colleagues in the Out of Poverty Caucus at an event marking the 50th anniversary of President Johnson's declaration of the War on Poverty. And it was announced On President Johnson's address, January 8, 1964, in the State of the Union address, the delegate said, when President Hoover called the Virgin Islands an effective poorhouse, Virgin Islanders were and continue to be outraged by that characterization. However, what was and remains to be true today is that the income level and quality of life indicators in the U.S. Virgin Islands lags behind that of most places in the rest of the country. Meanwhile, 5 economically depressed communities will get extra help from the federal government to improve housing, education, and jobs. They are the first Promise Zones chosen under a new White House initiative as President Obama marks the 50th anniversary of President Lyndon Johnson's war on poverty. Daniel Nottingham reports from the White House.
Residents are still struggling to find a way out of poverty in Tom Paley's Los Angeles neighborhood.
There's millions and millions of dollars across the street, yet we don't see any benefit.
President Obama is trying to improve the outlook with a pledge of help to economically hard-hit communities he's calling Promise Zones.
And each of these communities is prepared to do what it takes to change the odds for their kids. We will help them succeed.
The first 5 Promise Zones are San Antonio, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, southeastern Kentucky, and the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma, all chosen because of the plans they have to try and turn the situation around.
Safe housing, safe environment, good education should be available to everyone.
The president introduced this idea during his State of the Union address last year. Lawmakers from both parties are already embracing it.
We're encouraged that the president is finally focused on a concrete approach to jobs that members of both parties can support.
It will take more than the promise of federal help to convince residents like Tom Paley. He wants to see action. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, the White House.
And keeping our eye on the economy, the markets opened up following positive news about unemployment filings. The Labor Department reported that weekly jobless claims fell 15,000 last week, a sign of fewer layoffs and steady job growth. The December jobs report will be released tomorrow. Volkswagen is getting ready to unveil the Passat Blue Motion concept car that gets as much as 42 miles per gallon. The midsize concept car will make its first appearance at the North American International Auto Show in Detroit on Monday. This is the New York Stock Exchange with Scotiabank Stock Market Watch. Everything down. The Dow 17, NASDAQ 9, S&P also down. Coming up on News 2 and more national news, a traffic nightmare on the busiest bridge in the world threatens to stall out a potential presidential run for New Jersey Governor Christie. That's coming up. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has revamped its Citizen Science website to provide new resources and success stories to assist the public in conducting scientific research and collecting data to better understand their local environment and address issues of concern. The updated website now offers detailed information about air, water, and soil monitoring, including recommended types of equipment and resources for conducting investigation. The EPA Region 2 Citizen Science program covers New Jersey, New York, Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and 8 federally recognized Indian nations within New York State. Now, that website can be found at www.epa.gov/region2. Congratulations to the 6th grade students at St. Croix's Ricardo Richards Elementary. They were busy this December with a food drive that brought in over 400 pounds of non-perishables for shelters in their district. Recently, the students extended their efforts in hope of raising over $400 for typhoon victims in the Philippines. Ricardo Richards principal Colleen Williams has just reported that the students have exceeded that goal and will be making a formal presentation to the American Red Cross on January 14th. That donation ceremony will begin at 10:30 a.m. on the school's campus. 6 local public schools will be getting free healthy snacks. 3 elementary schools in the St. Croix district and 3 in the St. Thomas St. John district. They were chosen to participate in this year's Fresh Fruit and Vegetable program. The students will receive a variety of fresh fruit and veggies throughout the day. The schools were selected based on the profile they submitted. Special Nutrition Program Director Angela Frett said it's an effective and creative way of introducing fresh fruits and vegetables as healthy snack options. Well, the Reichel Center is gearing up for Grammy Award-winning hip-hop artist Common. on 8 p.m. on Saturday, January 11th. Now, it's the first time the Reichel has brought hip-hop to the stage. Common, as you know, is an American hip-hop recording artist with numerous awards. Hits like The Light, featuring Erykah Badu, Love of My Life, Go, Come Close, and classics like I Used to Love Her, propelled him into the hip-hop spotlight. Now, outside of his musical career, Common is an accomplished actor, performing in box office movies like Just Right in 2010, the television series Hell on Wheels, and roles in various Hollywood films alongside the likes of Morgan Freeman, Angelina Jolie, Keanu Reeves, and Queen Latifah. Common has performed for First Lady Michelle Obama. He's a two-time Grammy Award winner, and there will be a premiere Conversaire VIP meet and greet again. That's Saturday, January 11th at 8 p.m. A traffic nightmare on the busiest bridge in the world threatens to stall out a potential presidential run for New Jersey Governor Christie. Molly Hall reports the governor insists he had no knowledge of the effort to disrupt traffic to the George Washington Bridge.
New Jersey Governor Christie says he is outraged and deeply saddened that a member of his staff and associates were behind a major traffic jam at the George Washington Bridge last year. Newly released emails and text messages reveal Christie's deputy chief of staff, Bridget Ann Kelly, sent an email last summer saying, "Time for some traffic problems in Fort Lee." David Wildstein, Christie's top appointee to the agency in charge of the bridge, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, responded, "Got it." In September, 4 lanes leading to the bridge here in Fort Lee were funneled into one toll booth. Traffic was backed up for 4 days. Kids were late to school and first responders were slowed down.
Who does that? Who behaves that way?
Fort Lee Mayor Mark Sokolich says it was retribution for not endorsing Christie during last year's re-election campaign.
To make those decisions with venomous motivation is completely inexcusable to me.
Before yesterday, Christie had denied anyone in his administration was involved.
This is a bruise that's not going to go away easily.
Christie is a possible 2016 presidential contender. Marley Hall for CBS News, Fort Lee, New Jersey.
Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.